Hello, hello, everybody. On tonight's team call, we are going to be talking about inviting strategies. So, I had the idea for this call because I've been thinking a lot about how I want to approach my business as I really dive back in postpartum. Um, and with Beachbody, one of the vital behaviors is invite. The vital behavior used to be invite, invite, invite. But now it's attract, connect, invite, follow up, or something along those lines, which is a little better. But if you follow the Success Club tracker, you'll notice there is a spot for invitations, and we're supposed to send like 5 to 20 invitations every single day, inviting people into our challenge groups or into the coaching opportunity. And in my 5.5 years as a Beachbody coach, I have never felt comfortable sending invitations. Like, I cannot comprehend how people send 5 to 20 invitations every day. I just can't. Um, it's like I just physically, emotionally, mentally, there's something that's like a wall that blocks me. Um, Energetically, I don't know. It's like something I've always thought I just struggled with, and I would beat myself up and be like, oh my gosh, I just suck. I need to get over this or else I'm never going to be successful. I've done all the personal development. I have worked on my fears. I've worked on my limiting beliefs. I've gone to Tony Robbins. I've worked with life coaches, like business coaches, done all the things. And I've also done a lot of just I don't know what we call the inner work on um, figuring out who I am and just like the self-awareness plus self-compassion. Um, and something that I've come across that I think is so cool in terms of how it applies to Beachbody is human design. And so I know a lot of you guys are human design fans. I will say I don't know a ton about it. I do not consider myself like a closet human design expert. And so this team call is not about, it's not a team call on human design. It's more of a team call about how we can use human design and other personality tools, and also just what we know about ourselves to create our own invitation strategies that feel good for us as individuals, because there's a lot of trainings out there. And in terms of business training, it's never a one size fits all thing. And the beauty and the curse of network marketing, like a company like Beachbody, is that everybody, I think Beachbody specifically is unique in that coaches share their knowledge. I don't think there's another company where like the top, producers, the top coaches openly share exactly what they do to create success. I honestly don't think there's another company like ours. If you go to Summit, there's all these trainings, there's a national wake up call, there's the Beachbody Champions page. It's like everyone is here to help each other succeed. And that's what I love about Beachbody. But at the same time, it can be really overwhelming because there's all these voices telling you what you should do, tips for success, strategies. Here's what worked for me. And all you can do is kind of like do all the things and follow everybody's different advice and trial and error and figure out what works for you. And that can take years and years of like throwing spaghetti at the wall whenever you try and approach business from an outside in perspective. And by outside in, I mean feeling like you can't trust yourself because you don't know what you're doing. So you're going to get information and knowledge from other people who are successful, and you're going to implement their strategies. That can work, but a lot of times it's not going to be sustainable because it might not be aligned with you, your personality, your energy, your approach, because we're all different. And so a better way to do business is to focus on knowing yourself, because you are your business, right? And so instead of looking to experts to tell you what to do, you need to learn how to trust your own inner authority and know who you are and what works for you and what feels good for you. And then you can do the business trainings and all the things and webinars and calls, and you can kind of sift through all of the noise to know what's going to work for you. So it's like an inside out approach to business instead of an outside in. This is going to allow you to create success a lot faster in a way that really feels aligned. So if you feel like you keep hitting walls, or you're blocking yourself or sabotaging yourself or holding yourself back from really creating a thriving business, then maybe it's time to just really focus on the personal development and stop following other coaches on social media and just really figure out what works for you. Yeah, Danny says batch invitations are more doable for me a couple times a week. Yeah, cool. So that works for you. Yeah, Naomi, if you can talk to your HD contact, that would be awesome if we could get like an expert on to explain this stuff. But for now, hopefully you've had a chance to take the free assessment that I posted in our Facebook group. If not, you can follow the link just like now while I'm talking, and it takes like 2 seconds. So human design is really cool because it tells you kind of like how you're energetically programmed. It's like a conglomeration of every single like metaphysical, esoteric, like chakras, the I Ching, like all these things combined with astrology. And so it's like, I don't know, like my science mind is like, this is bullshit, but my like woo mind is like, this makes sense for me, so I'm just gonna roll with it. So, like all personality tests, don't get dependent on this to put you in a corner. Just use this as a tool. If it resonates with you, like if you get your type and you're like, that is not me at all, cool, trash it, whatever. But if you're like, oh, I can use parts of this to inform and empower myself to do things my way, then that's the cool thing. So, and this is the key to building an authentic business, which is what our team is all about, is getting to know you and what makes you authentic. You know, it's like, what is authentic to you and who you are. And that's why we do personal development, because we spend our whole lives trying to fit in or putting on these masks to try and fit in and not get rejected. And then all of a sudden we realize, oh, I can pull apart the masks and figure out who I really am and start living more true to me and calling my shots. So this is all part of that process, which is cool. And it's a lifelong thing. So you can take action in your business as you learn about yourself, because it never ends, because you're always going to be changing. So yeah, human design, I think it's really cool in terms of it is success focused. So it's kind of like, how can you show up in the world and at work and create your own definition of success, and what kind of energy management works for you. So you're not just like beating your head against the wall. And from your comments, it looks like our team, and you guys tend to be either a generator or a projector. So there's 4 different types in human design: generator, manifester, projector, and reflector. Reflector is like the 1%. So if you're a reflector, you are a unicorn. Almost everybody is either a generator or a projector. And under the generator umbrella is the manifesting generators, which is a subset of generator. And the main difference between generators and projectors is how we create or use energy. So kind of like as the name implies, generators, you generate your own energy. You have this really powerful sacral center. So like, what is that? The third chakra, second chakra. So this is like your energy source. You can source your own energy. You kind of like can go. You respond. Like the main thing is like to respond to things coming at you. So you don't necessarily initiate things as what manifestors do, but you respond to the world around you, and you have a lot of energy to burn, and you can work hard and multitask and do all the things, especially if you're a manifesting generator. You're super creative, and you're kind of like an action taker and can make things happen like really, really fast. And so that's really great for obvious reasons. Projectors have an open sacral center, which basically means we have to channel other people's energy. We don't have a lot of our own energy source. This sounds like a weakness, but it's not really. What it means is we can't just work a 9 to 5 plus a side hustle. You know, we can't just work, or we will burn out. It's like maybe generators, I don't know if you guys, if this resonates with you, but in my mind, it's like generators are the people who thrive on being busy and can do all the things and love it. Like, it's like Amanda versus me, right? It's like they generate a lot of energy versus projectors. We will get burned out. We just like can't deal. The whole just do it is not how we operate. And our what we need to do is wait for the invitation in order to thrive, which means like we can't initiate things or instigate things. And this is, I think, why Beachbody inviting has always kind of felt challenging to me, is because it's more natural for me to wait for an opportunity to arise, and then I will invite someone. So it's more like someone will come to me and be like, hey, I'm ready to join your group, or hey, I have this problem, or hey, tell me more. And then I'll be like, cool. And I have no problem selling them. And so yeah, just learning how to pace yourself, take breaks, kind of unravel this societal conditioning that we have to work harder in order to create success, because that doesn't necessarily work for us. So, ways that I, so that's kind of the background of this. So I was going to share a couple ways that I have made like being a projector work for me in my business, and then I would love to hear from all of you guys in terms of um, whether or not you know anything about human design, just kind of like what's challenges and struggles, what doesn't work for you, as well as what does work for you in inviting, because I know we're all different and we can learn a lot from each other. So as a projector, something that feels good to me is being the lighthouse, and getting really clear on my values and my story and my purpose and passion and why, and just like sharing my story, being vulnerable, um, taking a platform, taking a stand for what I believe in, and just like creating a really powerful presence and just kind of seeing who's drawn into my beam of light. So like I'm the light bulb and all these little like bugs are flying around. And I'm not going to be like the frog that goes and like eats the bugs. I'm going to be like the zapper. This is a really bad analogy, but I'm going to see like who is drawn into my aura. And so once I see who is watching, and this means like indirect inviting feels good to me. So like doing things like Instagram stories and polls and kind of like reach out to me. At the same time, you can't be passive 100% of the time. You still have to be active a little bit. And so what does feel good to me is seeing who's drawn in, like who's liking my posts, who's watching my stories, who's DMing me. And those are the people I'm going to build a relationship with. So I'm not necessarily going out and like using hashtags to find people. I'm not the one like initiating the relationships. I'm more like, we'll see who's attracted to me. And if I have a mutual attraction, then I will connect with them and invite them. So that's how I personally approach the attract, connect, invite. And this is kind of like, you can also think back into big decisions you've made in your life. Are you the type of person that's more like you seize the opportunity, or do you kind of wait for the opportunity to present itself? A really cool analogy I just read tonight on generators versus projectors is generators or manifesting generators, they will work their way through college, versus projectors need to get scholarships. And I was like, oh, I was totally a scholarship person, but I seized the opportunity to get scholarships. And I did have like 3 part-time jobs, but I don't know, it's interesting versus like how I met Ben. It's like I randomly connected with Ben due to a mutual friend. So he was like placed in my life and I was like, I want to date this guy. And so he was available. And so then I felt comfortable in pursuing him. So I still pursued him. I didn't just wait for him to ask me out because like we wouldn't probably be married yet if I waited for him. So it's like, it's not like you have to be passive. You can still go after what you want, but just like as a projector, I have to wait for this situation to, feel good and feel, like it's ready. So that is kind of how I approach things in my business. Does anyone else want to chime in with their own experiences?
I'm also a projector, so I relate and agree with pretty much everything you just said. The other thing is, I don't know too much about the authority piece of human design, but I know this girl I know who's kind of an expert always leans on that as the next piece of it. So I think I'm splenic or splenic, however you say that. And that
Okay.
is has a lot to do with your intuition.
Ooh.
And so I feel like that plus being a projector really goes with like, if I feel like they're drawn to me and I'm drawn to them, then I'm going to send them a message. But if they're not drawn to me or I'm not drawn to them, it's because I just like, I don't feel the vibe.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool. My inner authority says emotional solar plexus. I'm emotionally driven. And I think I read that it means like I'm going to have like ups and downs, and I tend to like take action when I'm up and I'm like, yeah. And then like retract when I'm in a down, which like I do. And so I think it said like I need to just ride the ups and downs before, taking hasty action or something. And I am a very emotionally driven person, which is a challenge. So yeah, that's interesting.
and I think the other piece of it too is like the fight or flight or sense of survival that comes with my type. I think the splenic authority, because I feel like that sometimes I would assume that the like end of the month I haven't hit Success Club, I'm going to crank a bunch of them out, comes
Mm,
from that. And so,
interesting.
but if it doesn't feel authentic or like intuitive, that's where it feels icky. So I feel like to sort of have to fight against that survival instinct, doing them earlier in the month feels better to me.
Hmm.
Because then when it gets to that crunch time, I think the reason it feels bad to me is because it doesn't feel intuitive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
Rachel, I know that you're a human design fan. What do you have to add?
Yeah, I love human design, but I really don't know about the other signs except my own.
And you're a
um,
manifesting generator.
yeah, I'm a manifesting generator,
Can
which
you speak towards that? Because I'm a
yeah.
projector, so that's my perspective.
Yeah, so manifesting generator. So Tony Robbins is also a manifesting generator. Woo woo.
That
So
makes so much sense.
so yeah, like super high energy. Like that's where when I'm like super aligned and like everything is flowing really well, like I am super high energy and I love being around people. Um so like connecting has always been super easy with me. Like the networking portion of network marketing so far has been the most easy part. I think because it is a little new for me too, I'm getting a lot better at it and not caring about getting no's anymore. Because I kind of like, especially now that we're talking about human design, like, and I look to all of my different role models like Tony Robbins or someone like that, and I see them, and if I just think like if they were to get a no from somebody, they wouldn't care, you know? So I'm everyone has their own limiting beliefs, so I'm getting over that one tenfold, and like just creating connection has always been super easy. And I think when I try to dumb down my energy, like then that's when I start feeling very like out of alignment, and then I feel like invites are even more difficult. So I think like staying in that high energy state, and whether you need to do a dance party or something before inviting people. I mean, I think that just helps most people get their energy up. Doing a dance party or reading or listening to something like super motivational has just helped me to get over that hump of like throwing invites out there. And um, there's also like, I don't know if anybody's into manifesting or like stuff like that. I know Naomi's probably is, but if you like ever have done like manifesting practices, and especially like if you're trying to hit, if anybody's like trying to hit going towards a certain level, or us in like our diamond pod, like we're like continuing to like manifest diamond in our world. So there's a little arrow on your chart, and I'll post this in the group probably, but you can tell if you're a specific or a non-specific manifester. And if you follow Lacey Phillips, is like all things manifesting, and she taught me this with my human design chart. So like if you want to start doing like a manifesting practice, if you know you're a specific or non-specific, then when you like make your list for manifesting, then you can do it either way. So I'm a non-specific manifester. So I kind of just like if I make a list about what I want to manifest, I don't need to get into specific details or anything like that. But some people, when they're manifesting, they want to like write down the color of what it is, or how many people, or like very specific on what their list is. And I think that can also just help if you want to start a manifesting practice. And I'll put more in there too, because I forgot where on your chart the arrow is, whether it's like pointing left or right. And I know Naomi's probably going to be interested in that too. And then, yeah, just as far as like manifesting generators go, I think just keeping up that high energy and not worrying about like dumbing down your expression. Because if you have people in your life, or if you have just anybody that is kind of dumbing down your expression in any way, whether that's creatively or even just your voice, then I would distance yourself from them so that you can stay in a high vibrational state and stay in that high energy, and then use that energy for your business. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Great tips. Thanks. Yeah, something that I also thought of when you were talking about how you like pump yourself up with dance parties and stuff. Like on the flip side, like as a projector, like that doesn't, I mean, that does work for me, but what is more reliable, and this is like if you're a projector in terms of getting myself in alignment or pumped up, since we tend to channel other people's energy, it's like getting myself in someone else's energy. So that's like listening to a podcast or hanging out with a friend, or even just like messaging a couple challengers, just check in with them, just to like pitch myself back into someone else's energy or remind me why I'm doing this in the first place instead of trying to rely on myself for motivation and inspiration. It's also, I don't know if this is a reason why, but it's like I'm drawn to people like Tony Robbins or like events or conferences or these high vibe like summit. And I just like ride this wave of like mania afterwards where I'm just like, whoa. And then I tend to just like crash for a long time. So I don't know if that's me or my personality or has anything to do with human design. But I also screenshot, and this is back to projectors, screenshot something from a website called humandesignlifecoaching.com that said, projectors need more than any other type to understand the power of their aura. The projector's aura is very specific. It's a bioenergetic field that can be felt across a room. It's coded to a certain very distinct frequency. Anyone who's not attuned to that frequency will never really notice the projector, and anyone who is attuned to the frequency cannot help but pick them out across a crowded room. This is probably why I use the lighthouse analogy so often. It's like a projector analogy where it's like you either want to repel people who don't resonate or call them in. The projector's aura is magical. Not only does it ensure that they will get exactly the right recognition and draw it towards them, but it also serves to protect them. Anyone who is not naturally drawn into the projector's aura is not going to be healthy for them. All the projector really has to do is sit back and wait to see who comes forward and who does not. So in terms of Beachbody and inviting, this is why I don't really pursue people, because I'm not sure if they are going to be drawn to me or not. I kind of just see who is drawn to me, and then I will reach out and invite them. So it's kind of like a backwards inviting thing. So I'm not just sitting around passively waiting for someone to invite me to invite them, which looks like people reaching out saying, hey, I want to join. That happens sometimes, but not enough to like build a business. Maybe until you have a super huge following. But it is more comfortable for me to talk to people that pre-qualify themselves by, like, I know that they're not going to judge me or misunderstand me when I invite them, because it's not coming out of left field. I know that I actually want them in my group. So that feels good to me. Let's see, I pulled up another website. Yeah, so and then flipping back to the manifesting generator. So yeah, the generator, so for Danny, it's wait to respond. So it's kind of like you wait till the ball's in your court and then flip the ball. Manifesting generators, your strategy is respond, envision, reprocess, inform, act. And this is from some random human design website. So, but basically, you respond to events and occurrences in your reality, but you need to, so it's basically like, it says take job hunting, for example. A manifesting generator has much better odds responding to occurrences in their reality than pounding the pavement or hawking the classifieds. An occurrence may be a mention of an opportunity by a friend or from a social network connection, or it could be training, seminar, promoted at a local store. For manifesting generator, it's these threads within their reality that create the optimal energetic exchange when responding with the proper intentions. So again, it's like with inviting, it's not necessarily stalking the hashtags, like hunting for your people. It's more like paying attention to like who's popping up, leveraging the network that you have, asking your friends. Instead of inviting them, maybe it would be more like, hey, I'm running this group. Do you know anyone who might be interested? And, they might be like, yeah, that's me. So that's another inviting strategy that's a little less direct, but can be really effective. Does anyone else, are you guys resonating with this? Or are you just kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about, but.
I have another projector thing. For anyone else who's a projector. I think because the other thing that kind of goes with projector is like wanting to be that magnet or the lighthouse. I think that goes back to the importance of sharing your story, because if you're meant to guide someone, you need to build the trust. So by sharing your story, I feel like that also kind of aligns with some of my like Enneagram 3 stuff. But I feel like I put a lot of effort and energy into that, because I feel like I'm more focused on drawing my people in. And once I have them, the invite is easy or easier.
Yeah.
So building the trust that I can guide them and I can be the one that I'm the right person for them, that we vibe is like what works for me.
I just had like a refinement of the lighthouse analogy that kind of also reflects why we all need each other, and no one's like better or worse. We all need each other to function in the world and make good things happen. I think in terms of the lighthouse, so the generators or the manifesting generators, you guys are the actual light, like the power source, but it's kind of like diffused. Whereas I think the projector, like we're all the mirrors that like channels the light into a beam that shoots out. So it's like we project that energy, and we are here to guide people, and we as in projectors and the generators are here to like be the power and be the energy, and the manifestors are here to initiate things, so they're like the power that like turns on the light. Does that make sense? And if you're a reflector, I don't know, you're like the star in the sky. I was reading about reflectors, and it's like you have to wait, you depend on the lunar cycle, so you have to wait like 28 days. I don't know. I have no advice to give to
Do we have
reflectors.
any reflectors?
I don't know. Are any of you guys a reflector? It said 1% of the population, so super rare. The reflector is when the whole human design thing, it kind of loses me. I'm like, but I don't know.
If we do, then I think that they're more of the people that show people how great they can be in a way. Like, so I'm not sure as far as invites go, but they see like the potential in people to be great.
Yeah. I think we're all good coaches at the end of the day. It's like we all have specific strengths and gifts and abilities. And that's what I want you to take away from this call is no matter what your personality is, or, whether you're introverted or extroverted or whatever, you have unique strengths that make you a really good coach. We all have different strengths, which is why we all attract, and we can serve people in different ways at different points in their journey, which is what sets you apart from all the other coaches, which means that the market is never saturated. There's always going to be people out there for you to help. But what's really cool is learning more about yourself and what those strengths are so that you can leverage them. And it also is really empowering too, to just be like, yay, this is what makes me special. I'm an Enneagram 4, so I like feeling special. I'm kind of pissed that I'm not like the rarest human design type. But like we're all unique and special, but also we have a lot of similarities or like talents and strengths that are going to fill the needs of people that we're meant here to serve. So it's all about like learning what your strengths are. So yeah, and there's like the Enneagram is another fan favorite. I think we're all obsessed with. Myers-Briggs is just kind of like the classic personality test, basic one. What else is there? There's the Strengths Finder. I did that for work back when I had a job, and I thought that was really cool. Are there any other personality tests you guys love?
Astrology.
Yeah, there's astrology and just like diving
which is kind of
into
like human design.
Yeah.
I'll give a plug to another expert that I know does identity code sessions. She uses your birth chart to help you hone in on what your purpose is for business and career based on your birth chart. So
that's awesome.
if
If you
anyone,
guys know experts
yeah,
and coaches in these, feel free to post in our Facebook group. Yeah.
I did a session with her and she's
That's awesome. Yeah. Brittany says True Colors is her fave. Ooh, I've never done that one. Danny says The Four Tendencies. Is that the Gretchen Rubin? I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And all this stuff is really cool. And some of it will be kind of conflicting. Some of it will be like, this resonates, this doesn't resonate. Yeah, astrology can be really interesting too, especially diving into the birth chart, not just your dominant sign. Like I'm a Taurus, which is an earth sign, and I am very grounded and down to earth. I don't know. So I guess I am a Taurus, but this is the rising sign, whatever your secondary one is. Mine is Aries, which is a fire sign. And if you look at my actual birth chart, like I think 85% of the planets in my birth chart are fire signs. So it's like the fire is a more dominant element for me than the earth, even though I'm Taurus. I don't know. So learning that was kind of interesting. I was going to say something else, but I lost it. Oh, if you want to get super woo, another thing that I think is fascinating is, what's it called? It's like the soul's database of, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on this. Someone help me.
Akashic
It'll
record.
come to me. Yes, the Akashic records. Thanks.
Yeah. I've gotten an Akashic record reading. I don't know if anybody else has, but it was really transformative. I don't know.
Yeah, I've had an Akashic records reading. I don't know, my friend Vicky Raisma does them. I don't know if she still does them, but she's really nice. She lives in New Zealand and she's like this happy little New Zealand bunny. I love her so much. Yeah, but the Akashic Records is like this, I don't know, this energetic database of basically all the souls. And it's like, I don't know much about it. It has to do with past lives and this belief that like us right now, we are physical embodiments of a soul, but our souls are eternal and they just like hop from body to body through different lifetimes. And each lifetime we're here to fulfill our soul's assignment in this lifetime and get us, I don't know, just like evolve and grow and learn. And it was very insightful. Stuff like that is cool. It sounds crazy, but if you have a really good guide or coach or expert who can really be personal with you, it's like it can be super cool. And even if it's just placebo effect, I feel like the placebo effect still feels true, so it doesn't really matter. Can't overthink it too much. Cool. Does anyone else have anything to share? Like what feels good for you in terms of inviting in your business? Like what works for you? Anything that you kind of struggle with?
I have been getting like, I guess talking about like how we use our energy and like how we protect our energy. I have had a girl recently talk about like how, oh, I could never share like on social media. Like that's just not me. I see you going like on live video and all that stuff. And I just don't think that's for me. And like, I've kind of told her, and this is like kind of what we're talking about now, like introverted versus extroverted and how you run your business and how you can be effective with it. So what would you say to somebody that was like more introverted and doesn't show up or doesn't think she could show up on social media as much?
Yeah, that's a great question. Assuming that it's true, it's not just like a fear that's blocking her, assuming that it's true and it's really, she doesn't want to. I would just like, remember that we can never convince someone that they would be a good coach or they would be a good challenger. They need this. Like they have to be on board. And so I would just like flip it back to her and be like, okay, so why are you in, like, what's your why? Like, why do you feel called to be a coach? Why does this attract? What about this attracts you? Whether, she wants to work on herself or she wants to be part of a positive community or she wants to build a business. And I would just get her to talk more about what's really driving her and what's like sparking that fire and what she's really passionate about, just to connect her back to her why. And then just ask her, what would feel good to you? What inspires you? Do you like writing? Maybe you write blog posts, maybe you do Pinterest, maybe you don't do social media at all, but you focus more on in person. You run workshops like live in person, or you do, when Beachbody was first started, like social media was not even a thing. And so people did fit clubs where they, would get together in a community center, a church, or whatever, an office, and they would all do workout together. And it's kind of like the old school network marketing of doing parties where you just like share Shakeology there. And, so that's the thing too. And like, how can you make this fun? How can you make this fun? That's the thing, is like, how can you make this fun for you? What would be fun? Because if it's not fun, even if it's hard, even if we're going out of our comfort zones, at the end of the day, it should be rewarding and it should feel fun. Like if it doesn't, then, just figure out how to make it your own. That's my first initial thoughts. Anyone else have thoughts on that?
I mean, I would just say too, like, I struggled with this and like figuring out how I wanted to share and not feel weird about it and being super introverted. So I just started like small with like pictures or boomerangs like in my stories and kind of built it up from there until I did feel comfortable like talking on my stories or like posting about what I was doing or like recording workouts. Like, so I think realizing that you have to start like where you're at, not, be like Ashley Molstad level of like craziness, and just like start where it's comfortable.
That's great advice. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions or anything that you want to bounce feedback off of? Cool. Well, that's all I got. Was this helpful? I hope so. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, like I said, I just want you to feel empowered to, yes, listen to the trainings and webinars and all the things, and learn the strategy side of things. Beachbody is really great at teaching strategy, but on the flip side, also, figure out what would make this fun for you, and don't second guess that. It's like, don't second guess it. Don't think that, oh, this doesn't fit onto the Success Club tracker, so it's not going to work. It's like, no, scrap that. Like, I hate trackers. I love the idea of trackers, and I've like printed out the Success Club trackers so many times. So at the end of the day, that's like format of doing business just does not light me up. I think this is why a lot of ex-teachers or teachers love Beachbody, because they're all into the trackers and stuff. And it just goes so against my grain. It's like pulling teeth. And I'm just decided to own that about myself and find other ways to stay organized in my business and trust that I can be motivated to show up and do the activities that are going to grow my business without a tracker guiding me. So if that's you too, feel free to not use it. And yeah, I just want to always empower you to make this business your own, because it is your own. And if you feel lost and stuck, like it's not working, just keep going and give it some time. Like, don't give up just because you feel like it's not, because it doesn't happen overnight. Or it might happen overnight. Like for me, it happened overnight and then it stopped happening for 3 years. And now I'm like trying to pick up the pieces, like, where am I now? So life always changes. And that's the really cool thing too, is like your life is going to change. Your life circumstances are going to change. You're going to get married. You're going to have kids. You're going to move. You're going to get a new job. You're going to go through grief and loss. You're going to go through change. And, your business and your audience is going to grow with you and evolve with you. And it's going to open new doors. So that's cool too. Just like trust the unfolding of your life. It's like a lot of trust in the process. So yeah, well, thanks for coming on live. And if you're watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. Share in the Facebook group what type you are in human design. We'll share all the resources there. And yeah, let's make this a really great month. It's gonna be awesome. I'll see you guys later.